So just to introduce myself, so my name is Rich Graves. I'm on the product management team now at ServiceAide. And today we really wanted to walk through, what has really happened in the last, week and a half, what this means for you on a day-to-day basis for the immediate term and for the long term, and what the vision and roadmap and how things change and get more exciting, I think, with ServiceAide. So this is good news, and I'm happy to talk you all through this and answer any questions you might have. So first, on September 30th, ServiceAide purchased Cloud Service Management from CA Technologies and all the teams that work directly with Cloud Service Management. So the people that you all deal with as customers really on a day-to-day basis, which would be, or on a normal basis, which would be the support teams or possibly operations who are doing upgrades and patches and those types of things, as well as engineering and product management being myself and Persona. So all those teams move over to the new organization, ServiceAide, and for the immediate term, I think what's most important, if there's only one thing you take away from today, is that immediate term, nothing really changes for you as a customer of Cloud Service Management. You continue to reach out to CA for support and maintenance and any license or account management questions you may have. While the teams may technically be ServiceAide employees, we're still using CA systems. We're still working, with CA closely on all these types of activities. So continue to go to support.ca.com. You're going to be working with the exact same people. As you can imagine, this type of transition does take some time. So over the next months, we're predicting about 6 to 9 months, we'll begin moving over to ServiceAide systems and have, an updated process to interact with ServiceAide for Cloud Service Management questions and support tasks, those types of things. Additionally, take a look at the new website if you haven't already. It's been posted in some of those announcements and emails that you may have gotten already. But ServiceAide.com with an E on the end of aid is the new website. It has lots of information up there about the team, about why the acquisition was done, and about the product as well. I did also want to introduce the executive team. So many of these folks you may know already from Cloud Service Management previously, and really the top line folks here, the CEO, CTO, and Chief Revenue Officer may be new to you, depending on what other organizations you've worked for or worked with, excuse me. So Wei Wong is our CEO. Wei, many years ago, actually worked at CA Technologies as well. So knows this space and knows a lot of the history of IT operations very well. Bill Gwynn, who I'll let talk in just a minute. Bill Gwynn is our CTO and has a lot of experience in machine learning and big data and some other exciting technologies that we're hoping to look at longer term on Cloud Service Management. Yip Lee is our Chief Revenue Officer, so he'll be running sales and marketing and those other functions that are critical to growing the customer base and improving the product as well. And then the last row here, and certainly not least, but Chandra, Prasanna, and myself, Rich, are moving over from CA to ServiceAide. Chandra runs engineering, as Prasanna and myself handle product management. So we'll continue forward with Cloud Service Management in the new ServiceAide organization, and are excited to certainly do so and see how we can continue improving and growing the product for your customers. So I will now pass the ball to Bill. So Bill Gwynn, our CTO, and Bill, make sure you hit #6 on your phone to unmute yourself, and then I'll move this slide for you. Yep.
Thanks, Rich. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you great.
Great. So guys, I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain the background of ServiceAide, why we bought CSM, and kind of what the bright future holds for CSM. So just a little bit of our background, as Rich kind of introduced us. ServiceAide is a privately held company. We acquired the CSM assets September 30th, and we're combining that with some assets from WG Sigma Systems, which is primarily a platform that deals with machine learning, artificial intelligence, and natural language processing. The idea here was to take our experience from building very large-scale IT, CRM, and AI-based systems and take CSM kind of to the next level, if you will, basically going into what we consider a intelligent ITSM solution. You know, trying to disrupt the industry a little bit. We really think that at this point in time, ITSM is due for kind of a technology refresh. You know, we've got the iron triangle of people, process, and technology. But if you really look at the technology that most of the ITSM products have in them today, they're kind of devoid of intelligence. And we've made great strides in the past decade with big data, intelligent technologies. This is seen in CRM, e-commerce solutions, retail, certainly manufacturing and automation has really made great strides using these newer technologies, but it's pretty much missing in ITSM. So we feel like CSM is a great platform. It's got good underpinnings. We've got a great technology with machine learning, and we can take this platform combined with new technology and really innovate the ITSM space. That was basically the rationale for this acquisition. So our vision in a nutshell is to create a new set of products on top of CSM that sticks to the core competencies of CSM, which really is an MSP-based solution, and become really the value leader, or continue to be the value leader in the mid-tier market. Basically, we're focusing on TCO reduction. These are our future roadmap. The use of these technologies is really going to focus on how we can proactively use detection of issues and prescriptively recommend actions and recommendations to reduce tickets and, of course, improve mean time to resolution. Let me get into this just a little bit, a little deeper, and how we're going to make this happen. So, from a moving forward perspective, what you can look forward from CSM is we're going to stick to the roots. This is going to be strictly a SaaS offering. We're not going to deviate into on-prem solutions and dilute our R&D and support. We're going to start moving out of the CA data centers, and you'll hear a lot more of this later, and we're going to communicate to each customer individually when this is going to happen. So this is not going to be some big bang approach, but we're moving into more robust and higher performing cloud implementation. So I think you're going to see a win there. But we really view this move as kind of a partnership. We really want to understand your business, how we can help you grow in a more efficient and effective manner. So when we look at enhancing our roadmap and really accelerating the roadmap, which I was in India for the last 10 days working with Chandra and Prasanna and the team there, and Rich was there too, the team got really excited and we started looking at all the things that we think we can start working on to, again, reduce TCO and really be really the wow factor, if you will, into our next releases. So what I wanted to do is just take a second and mention some of the areas that we're really interested in understanding use cases and working with you on how some of these technologies and approaches can potentially affect your business. So things such as, you know, we plan to reduce scheduled runtime or scheduled downtime so that we're always up, always available. Add diagnostic analysis. This is more into the root cause analysis versus what you're seeing today in most of the reporting and dashboards you see in us and, frankly, most of our competitors. Get more into failure prediction and problem avoidance. We all know if you can predict a problem and avoid it, that's no ticket is the best ticket, right? So we're really looking at how we can see these trends, spot them before they become a real issue, and potentially avoid them altogether. And then, of course, looking at how we can present recommendations in a very prescriptive fashion to both agents that are working on issues and users in a self-care fashion so that, again, they can help themselves avoiding a ticket, increasing their satisfaction because they didn't have to go through the rigor of going through, creating a ticket and potentially waiting on any kind of response, but also just helping the agent find the right resolution to a problem. Working very keenly on understanding the skills of agents, how we can route issues, tickets, problems, et cetera, to the right agent based on their experience and their knowledge in areas. And even going so far as to look at crowdsourcing issues and solutions. We've seen great strides in other industries. CRM is a great example of where when you have a large team in an organization focused on how to resolve problems, often that team is not leveraged well. The solution's probably in the room or in the call center or, in the organization. But just finding the right person kind of in real time is often the problem. So using technologies and approaches such as crowdsourcing to get to the right person, to get to the right resolution quickly is something we're going to also be focused on. So again, these are just use cases. These are methods that we're looking to employ in our future roadmap. We'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear those use cases that you feel like would move the needle for you. The community is still probably the best way to get these conversations going. We'll rely on Rich, and I'll be jumping into the community to answer questions on these things, but we'll, again, be reaching out to you in the upcoming weeks to build our longer-term roadmap. So, Rich, I think I'll turn it back over to you. I'm sure there'll be questions at the end, and we can revisit these topics.
Yep, thanks, Bill. And again, if there are any questions about what Bill was mentioning there, feel free to ask it on the WebEx Q&A, and then we'll a couple more slides, and then we'll pause and take any audio questions as well. A couple other things I did want to mention, and I'll talk about the roadmap in a few slides. The Firefly rollout, so the release that's being rolled out right now, it's now live in all of the staging environments. It did go live in the Americas production systems over this past weekend. Several customers did report some cache-related issues, some issues with saving and updating tickets that were resolved with the browser cache, and we've also seen a couple of issues with advanced reporting around displaying the reports correctly. We're still working on that issue. There is a workaround of using what's called the direct URL, of not going through the performance accelerator. So there are some workarounds there. If you are seeing any other issues, please, even if they're the ones I mentioned here, please do report them. We want to make sure we understand those, track them, and find the root cause so we can eliminate these issues going forward. Additionally, the rest of the rollout for Firefly goes out in the European and Australian systems October 15th into the production systems there. If you haven't had a chance to review the release notes yet, the published fixes, and the other documentation updates related specifically to this release, please do go to wiki.ca.com/cloudsm. That's just a quick redirect that takes you to the wiki. And I also published the release notes and published fixes on the community as well, so you can take a look for them there. Anything new related to Firefly, I did post. There's a section on the right-hand side of the community, featured content. So anything that's new and sort of important for right now, I always try to make sure it's pinned on that right-hand featured content section so it's easy to find. Next, as far as the next release, so I'll talk a little bit about the roadmap here, sort of the immediate term, Goldfish, which is the February 2017 release into production, what's there. So really three key areas of focus for that release. First is a mobile app focused on analyst use cases. So an analyst managing their queue, looking at outstanding items, doing approvals, taking actions on tickets. We've heard certainly that is a critical thing from the community. I think it's probably, in the top might be number 2 overall in the community. This is something that we see as very important and think we can add a lot of value in putting this out there. Certainly it's value to your analysts and being that they can be away from the desk, but I think it also makes them more efficient. What we've heard from several customers is that they're managed service providers or have a field services arm or have analysts that go to different sites or different buildings on a campus. So being able to do these things without having to return to their desk or lug around a laptop certainly makes a lot more sense. And ultimately, everybody walks around with a mobile device in their pocket, and that's the way that many folks like to interact with applications is through a mobile app. So that's definitely a shift in our roadmap, and I think it's important to note with the move to ServiceAide, there's an increase in investment, and that's the number one reason why the mobile app is coming in and targeted for February release. The next point is on Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is being rolled out in Firefly, and the code goes in first, and then we do basically a re-indexing of the database, or not the database, excuse me, of the search index for each customer environment. So that'll take time. It's about a week or 2 before that'll be updated for all customers. So there's no impact to the downtime or performance or anything like that. So that'll be available then for English language customers. We do have a large number of customers that are using Spanish and Portuguese and French and German. So we need to extend Elasticsearch to support those additional languages. Longer term, we see Elasticsearch as a very powerful tool to eventually, I think, answer simple questions. So if anyone saw some of the design for this a while back, we're looking at being able to solve simple questions that people use, ad hoc or standard reports for today. How many tickets were closed today, or how many assets are of this model. So being able to answer those simple questions with Elasticsearch in a much faster way than you would having to navigate to a report and fill out the parameters and enter that criteria. Last but certainly not least, and I picked this superhero icon specifically because we really do see analysts as sort of these, superheroes or heroes in a sense where anything we can do to help them be more productive, resolve tickets faster, get the information they need, the better they will be at resolving customer issues. And ultimately, that's what we're all in business for from a service management perspective is to keep the business up and running, to keep customers happy, have a good relationship between IT and the business. So the analyst productivity enhancements that we're focused on for this next release is a lot of improvements to the Scratchpad. These all came from the community. There's been a lot of discussion threads on the community over the last month related to this. So some different fields being added to the Scratchpad, different configurations for the admin to do for the Scratchpad. So you'll see more in the coming months on that. Attachments. Over the last few releases, we've just made a lot of improvements to attachments. It's really about usability, simplicity, and speed. Being able to add attachments earlier in the ticketing process before you even save the ticket, being able to send those to users directly from the ticket without having to jump to your email, having much better auditing on attachments, and some other features coming later on attachments as well. And the last item here, and this is certainly not the whole release, these are just the 3 main focus areas, is a browser plugin for research. So I talked about this before, I think, in the roadmap. What we want to enable analysts to do is be able to use, the most powerful research tools that are out there, Google and the internet. So if analysts go to the web to find a troubleshooting information or a resolution to a problem, they can, leverage that information, and get it back into the ticket in a very simple way. So previously, what they'd have to do today is maybe they copy the URL, maybe they copy and paste some of the text, go back to the ticket and put that information in there. We find from talking to a lot of customers that if they get the URL, that's best case scenario in most cases. The analyst will just put a few details about what they found, not where they found it, not when they found it. So with the browser plugin, it's essentially when you're surfing on the web, when you find something that's useful, you click the plugin, it'll allow you to pick, take a screenshot, take just the URL, or copy a block of text, and then quickly insert that into a ticket because it knows who you are and knows what tickets you most recently worked on. And you just pick that ticket, it updates the ticket, and then you have a work log update that you did research in the browser tool, the browser plugin with all the information that you selected. So a much better way to do research. And again, it's trying to leverage how real analysts do real research rather than only relying on sort of the knowledge base that you have inside the tool for solutions. So a lot coming there. Other items we're considering sort of beyond Goldfish, and this is just, again, a high-level list at this point. So we do see an opportunity for Elasticsearch to become a bigger and bigger feature and solve a lot more key use cases. Additionally, I talked about it with several of you about improving in-application notifications. So today, all notifications really are sent through email. And if a level 1 type analyst is in the tool, 8 hours a day, jumping to email to see notifications just doesn't make sense. So we want to have better application notification as well as integrate with social collaboration tools like Slack as more organizations adopt things, tools like Slack and others as well. And a big part of that is really tied well together is real-time updates to Ticket Center. So as new tickets are assigned to an analyst, they will immediately appear in their queue. As updates are made to tickets, they'll immediately see those in their queue and not be forced to do a refresh there. Also, I put a few discussion points out on the community recently about redesigning the SLA engine. We really see that as an opportunity to simplify the process to create SLAs, as well as really speed things up behind the scenes from an architecture perspective on SLAs to be able to enhance performance of really ticket actions, save and update and calculation of SLAs. We just see there's a lot of improvement we can do to improve performance as well as functionality of the SLA engine. Rich text support and images on knowledge base articles, so allowing much more rich content within knowledge base articles as you build out your knowledge base. Some other improvements on advanced reporting. I didn't go into detail here, but we're looking at creating additional domains, having better performance, and looking at adopting some of the latest updates from Jaspersoft, the tool we use for advanced reporting. The last two items we've talked about before, ticket archival. We did build a lot of the code for the archival, but we still want to make sure that when we turn this feature on, it's right for everyone. So a lot more to discuss there, and I think some other improvements to speed performance that we're working on there. And the last, license and session management. So today we operate on this trust model, and I think for many of our MSP customers, they want much more visibility into how their end customers are using the tool. How many people are logging in, what kind of usage metrics can they see, as well as how many licenses is their end customer using. Many MSP customers build out those end customers based on license usage, so we want to expose that, have better reporting, have better control in the tool to manage those licenses as well. So from a summary perspective, so I just want to highlight a couple of things that, the immediate term release, Goldfish coming in February, as well as the roadmap. I think a couple summary points, and I'll talk a little bit more about monthly maintenance in just a second, but, Cloud Service Management is now part of ServiceAide. For the time being, all contact points remain exactly the same. If you're contacting support, if you find a defect or having a configuration issue or question, you still contact the same support team, same phone number, same website that you did before, and you're going to be talking to the exact same people as well. So the team will transition and the systems will transition over time. And again, this type of transition we're estimating taking 6 to 9 months, but as we move to different systems and the community and the customer base will be, communicated to, and hopefully the goal is to over-communicate with these types of changes, because certainly you don't want to be surprised by any of these things. Additionally, I have put over the last about 6 weeks more content on the community about consistency of maintenance windows or maintenance periods, really. So what we wanted to get to is a published maintenance calendar for each data center to have a window each month for maintenance, and that would be infrastructure maintenance as well as application maintenance. So the calendars are published for each data center. So there's one calendar for the Americas data center, and then there's another calendar. We keep the European and Australia data centers aligned. So there's 2 different calendars to take a look at depending on where your environment is hosted. For the next upcoming window is for next month for November is November 12th, and you'll notice that the consistency is typically the second Saturday of the month will be that maintenance window. So our goal is to do any scheduled patching, maintenance, upgrades during these communicated windows. So in most cases, on a monthly basis, we'll be using it for patching or infrastructure maintenance if we have to, upgrade a version of Java or upgrade, Windows fixes or something like that. And then once a quarter, that middle month of the quarter, that's when we'll continue to do our upgrades or, feature releases. Okay, if there's any questions on that, please do let me know. You can make comments on the community about those or reach out to me directly. The last thing I'll mention before we open up for questions, there are a few service management or IT-related conferences coming up in Las Vegas next month. So there's the Fusion Conference hosted by ITSMF, which is always a very good conference on service management. That's in Las Vegas next month, as well as CA World. If you are attending either of these conferences, please let me know. We're trying to meet up with as many folks as we can at these conferences, so please do reach out to me, and we'll meet up for dinner or something, or just informal gathering. So please do let me know, and you can reach out to me either at my at rich.graves@serviceaide.com. Okay, so I will pause there. I see quite a few questions coming in on the WebEx, but if there are any questions now on the phone, you can hit #6 or #6 on your phone and ask an audio question, or feel free to use the WebEx questions as well, and we'll mention those out loud if there's any questions. There was a couple questions I think are worth mentioning to the whole audience. Is a question on fundamentally the CSM product will remain the same for the long term, just continue to be developed and built upon, et cetera. So, I think what's most important there is that, cloud service management remains, a product in the service management space that we will be continuing to invest in, and actually increasing investment. And what the goal is to show increased value to you, our customers, with new functionality, new features, and hopefully new use cases is what we're really trying to go after with some of the new functionality as well. So I think that's important. I don't want to say it's the same, but it's not going away. In the immediate term, you're not going to see any sort of drastic changes, but there's absolutely a commitment to invest and enhance the product. There was a question on data sovereignty or location of data. So that's a very good point. So today, so everyone knows, we have data centers in the Americas, in the US. We have a data center in Australia. We have a data center in Germany. We may look to extend that further as we go forward, and we may look to move that as well. But we certainly understand that location of data, the geographic location of the data. Certain countries have laws that does not allow businesses to host their data outside a particular country. So we'll absolutely keep those things in mind and brief customers if there are going to be any changes. The intent is to have more data centers as we go forward to support more growth but we're still have a ways away before that, so look for more information as we go forward. Again, any other questions on the phone? Pound 6 to unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah, there's a couple more questions coming in. I think at this point, since there's no other audio questions, what we'll do is end the webcast. I will stay on, Prasanna will stay on, and address any other questions that come in on the WebEx. We did want to just keep this very brief and very focused, just to make sure that everyone understood sort of immediate term and long term and what this means for you as a customer of cloud service management, and address any questions. Always feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions. And I know I've been setting up calls with many of you. I haven't had a chance to call on every customer yet, but feel free to reach out if you want to schedule some time, and you can always reach out through your CA account team as well. And we're happy to set calls with the new management team to listen and understand your organization and how we can help and extend the product to meet your needs. So we'll go ahead and end the audio portion of the WebEx. I will stick around if you have any other questions on the WebEx event Q&A. But thank you again for your time today, and please do let us know how we can help. Thank you.